big change was the introduction of federal monies into higher education after World War II, and often overlooked the role that the military has played in shaping really higher education, not only in terms of funding for military projects and stuff, but also in the introduction of strategic planning and other kinds of developments that have been tied really to the military and related think tanks like RAND Corporation and others that have developed over the years. And Europe also had the gentleman amateur kind of tradition until the 60s. And there was, in Britain, there was known as the Robbins Report in the 60s, which really reevaluated higher education in the UK. And then Europe, because of the war, largely adopted the American model, especially in MBAs. So this interaction between the US and the role of American education, really the era that we're in is one from the 60s. We are products. I graduated from high school and my first undergraduate university degree in 1965 and 69. And if you look today, the expectations, the norms that we grew up with are largely the ones that were imposed in. But we are now at a point where that model is changing and breaking down irrevocably. Just as an example, I am a visiting professor this semester at the University of Iowa, and the student paper reported that 47% of all faculty were not tenure or tenure track. Essentially, almost half the faculty now at a major institution, like the University of Iowa, are not tenure or tenure track. Now in the 60s, 75%, 80% of faculty were tenure track. Those of us that are on either tenured or tenure track are really beneficiaries of that system, which provided job promotions return for the ability to be free to research and to say things and to be treated as with dignity as human beings. But now, because of the economic situation, the political situation, the oversupply of many degrees, I was looking at something very interesting. The MBA is the world's most popular degree in a class. They graduate over 20,000 graduates a year now in Europe, and 4 times this number in the United States. So worldwide, you're talking over 100,000 graduates just in the US and Europe, and now with the expansion in Asia and Latin America and elsewhere, we're facing a very interesting challenge because we're pumping out all these people. What are we going to do? If we look at universities and we think of universities, most people tend to think of education and research. Come on in, there's some seats over there. Bring some extra chairs in if you like. You're welcome. Thank you very much for coming. And so, but what they don't realize that many activities that go on within the university are really similar to a corporate function. I was looking at a statistic of the 100 largest leading organizations, governments, corporations, nonprofit, whatever you want to look at, in terms of wealth and budget. 51 are corporations, 51%, 51 out of 100. So over half the top entities in the world with money and authority are businesses. It's an interesting problem. And many universities are, because they're quite similar to corporate function, for example, let's take Harvard as an example, but this would apply even to smaller liberal arts schools. But many of these things would apply. Harvard has a real estate department. They have an investment firm. They have a large human resource department with activity. They have a publishing company. They have buildings and grounds and construction management resources. When you look at it, they have a legal department. They have an insurance company. And many other corporate style functions. And when you take a look at our own institutions, even smaller liberal arts universities, but certainly with flagship type state institutions, they're cities. They're really kind of quasi-feudal entity that we've inherited from the Middle Ages, and when people wore these strange capes and caps and all this kind of stuff. And the fact is that they really have an unusual structure, but we're becoming more corporatized. And business really, if you look at it in terms of management aspects, they tend to be well ahead of universities in understanding how to operate activities like this in the most efficient way. And these support activities for universities are critical for universities to be successful. And so you see business influence coming more and more into higher education. I've noticed that, for example, that the top rungs of administration are being filled more and more by people with either political experience, high-level political experience, people with military experience, or people with corporate and fundraising experience.
Legal too.
Yeah, that too. And